Tonight, I have a creepy mystery story about the elevator that stops at the floor that doesn't exist to let something in that I want to share with you. It begins in the monolith of concrete and steel known as the Obsidian Tower, where the elevators operate on a system that hides secrets deep within its dark, hollow shafts. Julian worked the lonely night shift as a systems analyst, meaning he was often the last living soul to leave the silent floors of the building after midnight had passed and the city outside grew quiet. The elevator in the central lobby was a vintage brass cage modernized with glass panels, offering a distorted view of the concrete shafts as it climbed slowly through the darkness of the high rise. He had heard the strange rumors from the daytime security guards about the phantom button, a digital glint on the touchscreen that only appeared when the air in the cabin grew freezing cold. It was a rainy Tuesday when Julian first saw it. Between the buttons for the 13th and 14th floors, a blank, glowing circle flickered into existence like a dying star on the control panel. Curiosity overcame his exhaustion, and before he could rationalize the decision, his finger pressed against the cold glass, registering the input with a soft, ominous chime that echoed in the small space. The elevator didn't speed up. Instead, it decelerated with a sickening grind, the lights overhead flickering as if struggling against a sudden massive power drain from somewhere deep in the basement. The digital display above the door began to scramble, cycling through bizarre glyphs and negative numbers before settling on a blank space where the floor number should be. With a heavy mechanical sigh, the doors slid open to reveal a lightless void that seemed to actively swallow the illumination radiating from the elevator car itself. There was no floor outside, only a yawning concrete abyss smelling of wet soil, ozone, and something ancient that had never felt the warmth of the sun. Julian stepped closer to the edge, peering into the darkness, but his phone's flashlight beam died just a few feet past the threshold of the elevator doors, swallowed by the dark. Then came the sound, a slow, wet scraping noise like heavy canvas being dragged over rough cement, rising up from the unfathomable depths below the shaft. Panic seized him and he frantically stabbed at the close door button, but the panel remained unresponsive, its lights pulsing in sync with the approaching sound. Out of the darkness, a shape began to coalesce, a mass of shifting shadows that seemed to distort the very air around it as it neared the entrance of the elevator. The temperature inside the elevator plummeted instantly, turning Julian's breath into thick clouds of white mist that swirled toward the open shaft. He backed into the furthest corner of the cabin, pressing his spine hard against the mirrored glass, wishing he could merge with the cold metal wall to escape what was coming. A pale, elongated limb, jointed in ways that defied human anatomy, reached out from the void and gripped the edge of the elevator door frame. The metal of the frame groaned under the pressure of the grip, leaving deep warped indentations where the creature's slender, dark fingers pressed. A face, or the suggestion of one, leaned into the light, a featureless mask of pale, stretched skin with two hollow depressions where eyes should have been. It did not attack immediately. Instead, it paused at the threshold, tilting its head as if listening to the frantic beating of Julian's terrified heart. The scent of rot filled the small cabin, making Julian gag silently as he watched the entity pull its bloated, impossibly tall torso into the elevator. The elevator suddenly lurched downward, dropping a few inches under the immense, unseen weight of the passenger that had just climbed aboard. Finally, the doors began to slide shut, clipping the trailing shadows of the creature as it stood entirely still in the center of the small space. The elevator resumed its descent, but the air remained freezing, and Julian was now trapped in a space no larger than a closet with the nameless horror. The creature slowly turned its featureless face toward him, its body shifting silently as the elevator sped down toward the lobby. When the elevator finally reached the lobby and the doors opened, the night watchman found only an empty, frost-covered cabin with deep claw marks in the metal. Will anyone ever find out what happened to Julian in that cold metal box? Or will they too press the forbidden button when the night grows dark? Thank you for listening to the story of the elevator that stops at the floor that doesn't exist to let something in. See you in the next creepy tale.